Hi, everyone. Welcome. Happy Hump Day, Wednesday, November the 6th. My name is Pulkit. I am one of the co-founders and the CEO at Chameleon. Hopefully, we'll have met you at some point or online or in real life. I'm really excited to talk about our new governance agent in Chameleon, Ranger. I'll talk a little bit about the story of this, some of its capabilities. I'll show you a little demo. So hopefully it'll be an interesting, engaging session. It'll be recorded. So if folks need to reference it afterwards, or if you want to share it with a colleague, then you'll be able to. So yeah, let's get started. This is the story of Ranger. As an introduction, it'd be great if is there a chat? Yeah, there's a chat. We're using a new tool, so excuse me if I try to figure myself out for our webinars, but I'd love for you to introduce yourself in the chat, and let me know what product you're from or where you're joining from. For anyone new that's joining, Chameleon, it enables companies to create, deploy, and optimize in-app experiences. I think the latest is to think of these as more of nudges or micro nudges instead of the old way of thinking about them as walkthroughs or product tours. I think we've seen enough times now that people want to, micro nudges can be very valuable and helpful to give signpost the right information for somebody. Sometimes the long walkthroughs aren't very effective. People exit them. There's a lot of information to digest and capture. So Chameleon offers those nudges, and we offer a lot of use cases, onboarding, of course, but also feature discovery, upsells, feature collection, etc., feedback collection. And we offer a bunch of patterns. And inline patterns or embedded UIs are also very popular now. So things like banners that are inline or push down, embedded cards that might live in the navigation or on the page, etc. We also have a new product, which is interactive demos. We're seeing onboarding shifting outside of the product. And so this is a way to showcase a feature or flow with annotations, capture it, and then put it outside the product. And a lot of this is enabled and supported with AI. The demos, you can simply just record your screen and it will generate the demo itself. And there'll be more AI things, which I'll talk to you about now. So this journey for Ranger actually began late last year, 2024. I went to Lenny Summit in San Francisco. There was a lot of focus on AI and agents, and there was demos, and people were, private demos, public demos, lots of automations of workflows. But it really set the scene of like, okay, we're going to get into this age where things will be more automated, more agentic. And so that was kind of the start of our journey to dig into this. And we came back from the summit and brainstormed a bunch of ideas for agents in Chameleon. What could Chameleon make agentic? And a bunch of these ideas, you might be able to see this like linear screenshot, were around creation use cases. We wanted to make it easier for folks to create an upsell agent that would decide, or more seamlessly decide which of your end users are ready for an upsell, show a really good experience at the right moment, collect the feedback, route people to a call if necessary, etc. So we had these ideas of like, how do we make it easier to service these different use cases? And we started working on those. We, in fact, even built the first couple of these agents. So we had an NPS agent, which was a bit smarter in terms of when it engaged users, didn't engage users again if they had negative sentiment, didn't interrupt people, automatically created audiences of detractors and promoters for follow-up questions, summarized the data effectively. And we had a general feature sentiment agent based on if someone engaged with a feature or not. If they did, what did they like? If they didn't, why did they not? So we built some of these things that were essentially more automated and more well-packaged in-app experiences, but they didn't really land with our customers. We had some people trying them, and people were like, they don't feel agentic enough. And so we went back to the drawing board a little bit. In good news, some of that path has led us to this new generalized agent called Chameleon's Copilot, which hasn't launched yet, but is in beta with maybe 10 or 15 customers using it. And the cool thing is you can use this to create a campaign to help strategize, like to solve a problem. Like, hey, I want to solve this problem. People aren't using this feature. We'll help you think through what could be going wrong, the types of experiences you might want to create. Or if you want to improve your feature adoption, it might help you think about the different personas that you have and enable you to create variations of your experiences for those personas. It can also analyze existing experiences and help you think about improvements. So there's a lot it can do, and we're really excited about this. And this will make it 10x easier to run in-app experiences, and hopefully make it 10x better in terms of results, because the copy will use your tone of voice, and so it'll speed up your time, your workflow, but also it should lead to better ultimate experiences as well. So that's great, which is like cool. We worked on that. That was the journey, but that's not what we're going to talk about right now. We'll save that for another time. Going back to our journey, when after we got back from Lenny's, we're brainstorming all these ideas. GPT's operator dropped, which might be hard to believe, but that was early this year. I know we have Atlas now, and we're moving to this like agentic workflows, agents doing things for us, or more smart action. So we started exploring, hey, what would automation look like for the work that customers are doing in the Chameleon application? And so, what are they doing manually? What are they doing that's tedious? What is it stuff that we can make simpler? And one idea stuck, which is a cleanup agent. And you can see this is like 10 months ago, we had this idea. It's like, okay, well, if we could just clean things up for our customers in their accounts, stuff that they didn't want to do, but stuff that got unruly and untidy and made it harder to use the account, added risk because things weren't on brand or weren't consistent, or made it harder for someone new to get up to speed. And it reminded me of this robot from Wall-E. I don't know if anyone remembers it. This is Mo, Microbe Obliterator. Not the hero of the Wall-E film, but one of my favorites. And it basically went around just cleaning stuff up, cleaning up dust, cleaning up things that were out of place. And so that's the kind of sentiment that I had from when hearing about this cleanup agent. And I was like, oh, I would love to have a Mo in Chameleon. And that's kind of where we started, we started building. We said, okay, we brainstormed all the different objects that exist in Chameleon. We obviously, within Chameleon, you have experiences like tours, you have audiences with segments, you have themes, you have teammates, you have user attributes, you have rate limits. There's all these different elements. These are all these different components or objects within Chameleon, and we started thinking about, hey, what needs maintenance? What gets out of sync? What's annoying to deal with? What is someone's job often to like go and deal with this and take care of it, or enforce rules around it? So this is that kind of a process, and we used a simple RICE framework. RICE is you're looking at the reach and the impact, how valuable it would be, the confidence that we could deliver that impact, and the effort required to do this. So we use that framework to think about the jobs that a cleanup agent should focus on or should work on. And so we started working on this. One of the big unlocks was tagging our objects with AI, especially user-generated content. So, when you create an experience, what is the summary of that experience? And so this is an example of a prompt that summarizes an experience, including a launcher or a multi-step walkthrough tour or a micro survey. So it looks at the content of it, maybe the audience of it, and generates a really simple 2-line summary. And then that is very useful metadata that we have in our objects, and we have those for many things that we can then use for our agents to understand what is being created. Another one for that is themes. So we translate themes into this simple text description that is useful for our agents, including Copilot, so that it can understand what is this theme about. And it uses the visual hierarchy. So what's most visual on a theme, and how does it compare to the default theme? So that's some of the underlying work we did in building Ranger and in our Copilot. But now we have the Ranger, it's live, and it does a bunch of jobs and provides suggestions. And some of those jobs included renaming. And this isn't just a simple static renaming. This looks at the patterns of experiences that have been named already in your account and tries to identify what is the pattern, or what is the way that you like naming things. And then it suggests for things that haven't been named and are still with the default name, maybe changing that name. Similarly, it looks for things that are not being used, unattached, or not active, and maybe you duplicated an experience but never actually did anything with it. It's like, okay, well, that's just clutter in your account. Can we remove it and delete that? It suggests those to be deleted. It also looks at live experiences and says, hey, which ones aren't getting much engagement? Which ones maybe are broken? Should we look at them? Should we unpublish those? So it helps keep your end user experience also clean. We obviously all hate and are afraid of clashing experiences, or too many experiences, or outdated experiences. So this is actively helping you govern your end user experience, and we'll be doing more on that soon. And then also removes teammates. We don't want you adding seats to your account unnecessarily. If someone was last seen a year ago, hasn't been active, we encourage you to remove them from your team. So this again prevents risk of unauthorized access, but also helps free up seats and again keeps your account clean. So this is an example of some of the tasks. I think right now we have 7 or 8 different jobs that the Ranger agent does. We also generally default to allowing you to skip the suggestions. Over time, we hope that we'll learn from your preferences of accepting or rejecting things and then improve the agent. But let me show you a real example here. So this is in my Chameleon account within our governance tools. And we've rolled out a bunch of these tools within this governance hub, which is hopefully enabling for you. There's a bunch of these, including managing your environments. So if you have multiple different subdomains, or you have a production versus staging environments, to make it easy for you to switch experiences between those environments or publish to a specific group of domains. Rate limits to help cap your frequency of experiences. You can set rate limits based on audience. So you can have different rate limits for different audiences, or by type of experience, you can have different rate limits for surveys versus announcements, etc. So that's rate limits. Alerts when something isn't showing up or isn't being completed, you can set these alerts up. They can go to your Slack channel as well. Detecting elements. So if any elements are broken, which we're checking that all of the elements used within your Chameleon experiences, are any of them not showing up in the same frequency that they used to show up? So we're using some heuristic analysis to detect when an element might be broken. And then some other controls that you can set around data, around what you should display, etc. So there's a bunch of governance here. For those that will have Copilot access, we also have some more controls around AI customization. But focusing on Ranger, here's an example. So we've got these different jobs that it's doing. Let's look at the naming job. So it's like, okay, these are a bunch of experiences that someone's created on our team. Here's a better name for it, and I can accept that. Or I can reject it, or I can ignore it, and then I can bulk accept or action these items. I can also add custom instructions if I want to give some specific instructions here on how we should do naming. So that's an example of the naming job. It'll suggest, to avoid overwhelming you, it'll suggest 10 at a time, and then these jobs will run weekly. So once you get through them, great, and then eventually you'll get some new suggestions. You've got things that you might want to publish, like, oh, this was actually recently edited, but you never published it. Do you want to publish it? Maybe these are stale experiences that haven't been seen. Do you want to unpublish them? Do you want to delete stuff that isn't being used? And that could be segments in this case, or other objects. Removing inactive teammates. These people haven't been active. Domains. You might have added some domains before we're not seeing them recently. There's no data from theirs. Let's remove those. And then we have an activity feed of what you might have done. So this is kind of, and as you do these things, it'll tick, account on the things that you've worked on. So you get a healthy sense of how much time you've saved or how many actions you've taken through the Ranger agent. So that's the high level on Ranger. I know there's someone here, Anissa, said that they're not seeing governance here. It's likely because you're on the main version of Chameleon, not the Edge version, which Edge version is where we release things quickly. Then they stay on Edge for some time before they get rolled out to main. So if you're a customer on a main version, that's lagging the latest updates. And that's because we want to give people who are comfortable with the latest versions and edits or latest publishers the chance to try these out. If there's any feedback or issues encountered, we'll resolve those, and then we'll ship to this more kind of lagging main version. So it will come soon. Fear not. And if you do want your account switched to this Edge version, then you can let your CSM know. But otherwise, you might notice that this design of this navigation is also relatively new, and you may not have access to that, but that will come soon. Hopefully that answers that question. Okay, so let's continue. So we have some more jobs that we are planning on, and I'd love to hear any feedback on this. But styling consistency, we've been working on themes, and there's more updates to themes coming. So it'll be way easier to create and manage themes. I'm really excited about that. One of the coolest things is that you'll be able to generate a theme from your product. So just by clicking around your product and showing us some of the UI in your product, we'll be able to generate your custom theme, which is very cool. But idea of looking for experiences that are off theme. and trying to set them to an existing theme. We encourage you to use themes in Chameleon. That's a great way to stay consistent and to reuse your styles and not to duplicate experiences. You can create an experience from a template or from scratch, but you can apply any theme to that. Checking for accessibility for any themes you're creating or any themes that you have to make sure that they are accessible friendly. Managing tags. This is an interesting one because everyone uses tags differently. So learning how people use tags and then applying tags to experiences as relevant. And then also token management or keys management. So if you've got security keys or API tokens, if they're not active, removing them. These are essentially a way for code to access your Chameleon data and account. And so we want to make sure that we provide governance and security around that. So those are things coming, but I'd love to hear from you. What governance items you care about. What would you like to see Ranger take on, or jobs you'd like Ranger to do? So if you have any thoughts or feedback, please either drop them in the chat or send me a DM on LinkedIn or something. But yeah, we will actively invest in more jobs once we have the first jobs and get some feedback on those. So I think that's it. There's a Q&A. So if you've got questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. And if you want more information, there's maybe a CTA option where you can learn more. I'll drop the link into the chat as well. But you're welcome to check out more information on Ranger. And then we also have another webinar coming up, which is 10 ways to use AI for user onboarding. So we're going to be exploring more about ways that Chameleon is leveraging AI, but also outside of Chameleon, how you can leverage AI effectively and intelligently. So if you're interested in that, please sign up or feel free to share it with your colleagues. So that's the end of our short presentation. Would welcome any questions if there are any. Well, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn at any time if you are not already following or connected with me or following the Chameleon page. That's a great channel to get updates as well. And feel free to connect with me. But thank you for joining. I appreciate your time, and hopefully this is interesting, and looking forward to getting your feedback in actually using Ranger. Okay, bye for now.